So I'm a fourth year med student and I'm on my away rotations. I'm at this institution that has an excellent plastic surgery program. Big reason is because one of the best plastic surgeons in the US is an attending there. Now, I'm not gonna say the program, I'm not gonna say the attending name. Now this is one of the first days, I think this is actually the first day I'm working with him. We have a clinic day and we see several patients. One of them comes in, she has, this is maybe post-op visit number 1 or number 2 after receiving Botox injections to her face, and she's getting double vision, diplopia. And the reason is because Botox is essentially an agent that paralyzes muscles. And the attending then pimps me. Now that's the term we use for when a higher level essentially quizzes a lower level. Don't ask me why it's called that. So he actually says, Kevin, if you can tell me the exact route by which the patient's eye got paralyzed, then I will guarantee you a spot in residency at this program. And I'm just there like, oh my God. So I had been studying a lot, and I'm actually gonna go into, in another video, how to beast your away rotations. But I was like doing Anki cards and I had my anatomy down. So I go through, how I must have hydrodissected various planes and then gotten into the orbital cavity and paralyzed some of the extraocular muscles. Those are the actual muscles that move your eye around. And I was feeling really good. I was like, oh man, I did a good job. And he's like, wrong. And then he walks through the exact path, and it turns out that I had missed maybe like 2 anatomical landmarks. So I did not get the question right. But I was pretty close. So jokingly, I say, oh yeah, that's what I meant. And he just turns and looks at me in his typical way and says, F you. And in that moment, I just started laughing. I was so happy. I felt like I was one of the guys in that moment. Like I felt like I had made the cut and I was in. It did not come across as antagonistic to me. It seemed very like joking, and for the rest of the rotation, we had a great relationship. He'd walk up to me and be like, what's the word on the street? And I'd be like, word is money. It got really silly. So from my perspective, again, I could be totally wrong and maybe he hated my guts, but it seemed more of like a joking F you, and to me and my sense of humor, I thought it was really funny. I was invited back for an interview. I did interview with him. Things did go well. But anyways, so that was the first part. Now I had worked with him, and then maybe a couple days later, we had clinic again. I know, right? I was there to operate, but anyways, I'm in clinic again. I don't remember the details on this patient, but we walked out of the room and I asked a question about some dietary recommendation, or maybe it was a supplement recommendation that he made regarding fish. And I asked a question, something along the lines of, was this recommendation based off of your concern of like mercury levels in the fish? And he says no. But why don't you give us a presentation at the next grand rounds going over the 5 fish that have the highest levels of mercury? And I was like, in my head I'm thinking, what? But I said like, okay. So I literally, I kid you not, I presented to a group of attendings and residents and med students about the fish, the 5 fish that have the highest levels of mercury. And I still actually have that PowerPoint. Here it is. This is literally the presentation from a few years back. So it was just 5 slides, and I go over some very basic information. Now part of me was a little bit thinking like, oh my God, I'm already working 17, 18-hour days. It was a ridiculously busy rotation. How am I gonna do this presentation? But I mean, come on, it's 5 slides. It took me literally 20 minutes, maybe 30, and because I wanted to proofread and make sure it was really good. But overall, I actually learned several things from this presentation. I don't think I would have known the top 5 fish, but I still do to this day because of making that. When I tell this story, I get very mixed responses. A lot of people are like, that is so inappropriate. You're going there for an away rotation and he's making you present about fish. I mean, I did also give another presentation on a case, but like a case presentation. But I mean, this is it took me like 20 minutes. So yes, I was working very hard on this rotation. Like 16 or 17 hour workdays were not terribly uncommon. But I thought this was, again, kind of funny. Maybe he wanted to see my presentation skills, if I could think on the fly, if I could communicate effectively, things like that. So I didn't really take this personally either. Now, when it comes to how medical trainees are treated by their superiors, by attendings and by, upper level residents, it is a very serious issue. That's why I started SaveOurDoctors, because I do very much care about this issue, and it's something that I want to address and ultimately fix. But at the same time, you always have a choice on how you choose to interpret any situation. And that's not to downplay, like, there have been times when I was verbally berated and did not feel safe, and like, there were some very bad instances, and I'm not saying that is okay. Definitely not. But things like this, like, to me, this is just comes with the personality of surgery. I thought that these two instances were pretty funny to me. And I'm not saying that you have to think that way, but the ultimate thing I want to emphasize here is that you always have the power to choose how you perceive any situation, any meaning you give it. And there are situations where things are, especially in the OR, things get very heated and there's yelling, and I'm just like, this is not okay. But in these instances, I feel like it's kind of funny. I feel like I don't want to be taking myself too seriously. I think it's enjoyable and ultimately just not worth any stress. There are certain things in surgery that do need to change, but this kind of stuff, I got other things I need to stress about, not making PowerPoint presentations about mercury and fish. All right, guys, do you have any stories from your own rotations? If you do, let me know down below, because I definitely want to hear them. That is it for this video. If you liked the video, make sure you press that like button. New videos every week, so hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in that next one.